Hey folks, Tito here with the Black and Gold Daily Blitz. Thanks so much for tuning in. Follow me on Twitter @ThatHappens. Also, go to fan3sports.com. Check out our latest upgrade to the website. Lots of great new content. Lots of things being added all the time. All these new shows we've got. By the way, like, listen, subscribe, share, all those things to your friends and family, please. We appreciate it. We are growing so much every single day, and we thank you for that. All right, let's talk about the Steelers this weekend. Steelers coming off the big win over the Indianapolis Colts. And it's this whole team this year, every game going forward is going to be decided by the defense. I think the offense is fine. Not great, not elite. They're fine. They're going to count on the defense to do what the defense did this past weekend against Indy. I don't expect a 6-turnover game produced by the defense every single week, much like with the New England game, which they barely won when they produced 5 turnovers in that game. But the defense is going to have to carry this team. Aaron Rodgers is having a pretty good year. Not a great year, a pretty good year. He's having a much better year than he had ever in New York. But if you look at it, it shouldn't be that surprising because the way Aaron Rodgers played the last 10 games of last season is a lot like he's playing now. He came back from that Achilles injury. He rushed himself back, if you ask me. Look at his numbers the first 7 games of last year and how they jumped up in the last 10. That's more like what Aaron Rodgers should be doing. He is not going to be Aaron Rodgers from from 10 years ago. It's not going to happen. But he is a better Aaron Rodgers than he was in New York. That's the truth. Probably the best Aaron Rodgers we've seen since maybe 2021. There's not the weapons offensively, though, to be elite. I know they just signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and that's fine. I hate it whenever they sign a player who's like Aaron Rodgers loves because he played with him before. I wish the Steelers would have done more at the trade deadline. I wish they would have gone out and gotten a receiver. Chris Olave from New Orleans would have been great. Rashid Shaheed would have been good too. And he obviously went, he left. I can't remember off the top of my head now. It's escaped me. Nonetheless, though, Shaheed would have been a good one to have for them as well. But Olave would have been ideal if they could have grabbed him. Shaheed went to Seattle, by the way. There, now I got it. But he would have been great to have. I think the Steelers made a mistake not going out and getting him. I don't know if they made inquiries for other receivers or not. I know they've got a lot of draft picks coming up that they have to their disposal, but I think another wide receiver would have been a good add for them, someone better than Valdes-Scantling, who may be good. I'm not sure, but he's not going to move the needle for me. But when I look at the fact that the moves they didn't make at the deadline, that might give me more of a hint that Rodgers might play a second year with the Steelers. I know there's a lot of talk about him possibly leaving after 1 year, retiring, riding off the sunset. That's all fine. Which would mean this year is a championship or bust kind of year, championship run or bust kind of year. And if the Steelers really felt it was that way, I think they'd make a bigger push and would have successfully gotten a wide receiver, be it Brian Thomas Jr. in Jacksonville, or like I said, Chris Olave, although the Saints may not want to trade him. Whatever it's going to be, though, I would think that there would be a more aggressive push by the Steelers to add to this team than they did. Maybe it is a 2-year deal. Maybe they do believe, yes, next year Rodgers is back, and we've got an offseason again to plan for having Rodgers back because Rodgers is the best option for this team to win. So we'll keep an eye on that. The Steelers this week have a big game against the LA Chargers on the road. It's a road game against the Chargers, and it's on Sunday Night Football. And I'm excited about this game. It feels like almost every week I'm saying, oh, this game here is a must-win situation or an important win situation for the Steelers. And it feels like that way again this week when they play the Chargers. I know they've got to travel cross-country. I get it. I know that west to east, east to west, you see numbers about how teams fare when they are doing that kind of a long cross-country trip. But the Chargers have offensive line issues, particularly at offensive tackle. If the Steelers can play close to what they did against the Colts, they will win this game. And that would be huge. It's a conference win. It's a road win. All those things are great. Baltimore, meanwhile, who I consider to be the biggest threat to the Steelers. I'm not counting Cincinnati as being a threat. They are off this week. But Baltimore, though, is at Minnesota. Baltimore's favored in that game, not a gimme. Minnesota is playing with some confidence right now. I'm not saying J.J. McCarthy is great. I'm not a big believer in J.J. McCarthy, but they're at home against Baltimore. So it is at least a little bit of a dangerous game. The Chargers, by the way, 2.5 points favored over the Steelers. So I expect Baltimore to win, as obviously Vegas does, and probably many of you out there listening, which makes it even more important for Pittsburgh to get the win at L.A. And look, going forward, there are not many gimme games for Pittsburgh on their schedule. This week is not a gimme game. Hell, they're an underdog. They host Cincinnati. Should it be a gimme game? Yes. At Chicago? Yes. Home Baltimore? No. Host Miami? Yes. At Detroit? No. At Cleveland? Probably. Host Baltimore? Not sure. So out of all their games coming up here now through the rest of the season, as we're looking at this right now, the Steelers have 8 games left. So we're halfway through the season, essentially. A little more than halfway, I guess. But no, 9 games left? 9 games left they've got. And so if you can, and this seems like a game that earlier in the season, preseason, I would say, I don't think they'll win this. But now I think it is very much a could win this. Mainly because the Chargers, their offensive line issues they have, and the Steelers should be able to exploit that. So as you're looking at it right now, this Steelers game against Chargers, if the defense can play the way the defense has played at different times this year, not every week, but different times this year, and the defense has been totally Jekyll and Hyde. I'm sure other people have written about that, but it's totally Jekyll and Hyde as far as the Steelers defense goes. Right now, the Steelers would be the 4 seed in the AFC. They would be behind Denver, Indy, and New England. Kansas City would miss the playoffs. Baltimore would miss the playoffs. Cincinnati would miss the playoffs, obviously. But right now, if you look at the standing, it would be Buffalo at Pittsburgh. Not a great matchup for the Steelers, but a home playoff game nonetheless. So we'll see what happens the rest of the way. Pittsburgh right now sits at 5-3. You got Baltimore at 3-5, a 2-game lead there. So Pittsburgh needs to keep pace with Baltimore. 2 games left against the Ravens. Got to make sure that they win when Baltimore wins. Very, very important. All right, that's it for today's Black and Gold Blitz. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's a big game this weekend. Sunday Night Football. Steelers, 2.5-point dogs. I like the Steelers to win this game in L.A., and hopefully we're talking on Monday about a Steelers victory. We reconvene, and hopefully a Ravens loss. We'll do that more, though. Black and Gold Daily Blitz. FanStreetSports.com is where you can go. Check all of our new information we have coming out, all the new podcasts. There's so much great content on there. Follow me on Twitter, @ThatHappens. Folks, have a great weekend. Let's go Steelers.